Hi, it's the Irish Gypsy here to give you your February 2016 general reading. I continue to use the Gilded Tarot deck, drawing 8 cards for the month, 2 cards for each week with an additional card as your overall theme and general feeling for the month. As I always say, these are general readings, so if they do not apply or resonate the same with everyone who watches, I suggest you check your rising and your moon sign as well. A special thank you, as always, to those of you who keep me so busy with personal readings. It is an honor and a pleasure to read for each and every one of you. I won't forget either you or your story, so thank you very much for reaching out to me for those. And a continued thank you to those of you who continue to watch and listen and subscribe to my channel and my videos. Your feedback has been very positive, and I appreciate it very much, so thank you for that. We are going into February, which means Valentine's Day. And February is a month where we tend to focus on love and relationships a little more than we do most other months. So towards that end, I am offering a few different specials on love readings for the month. So if you are interested in those or any other personal readings, you can click on the About button on my channel's homepage, and that will give you a little more detail on myself, the services I offer, and my contact information. And you can email me at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. So let's get right into this reading. This is for Capricorn for the month of February 2016. Capricorn for the month of February 2016. What does the month of February hold for our little horned friends? Capricorn, February 2016. Now I do pre-shuffle the cards thoroughly before each and every sign, but I always like to go through a last little bit of a shuffle while I'm recording for you. Capricorn, February 2016. Okay. In the first week, Capricorn, we have the Major Arcana card of Strength, accompanied by the Nine of Cups, the Ace of Swords, followed by the Knight of Swords. In the third week, we have the Seven of Pentacles, followed by the Eight of Swords. And in the fourth week, we have the King of Wands, followed by the Ace of Pentacles. And for your overall theme and general feeling of the month, I pull a card from the bottom of the deck, and you have the Wheel of Fortune in the upright position. Wow, this looks like kind of an intense, lovely month. Let's take a look. Okay. So Capricorn, it looks like you begin the month of February or end January going into February with the Strength card, followed by the Nine of Cups. Now, the Strength card is a Major Arcana card, and I like to call the Major Arcana cards the fingers of the divine, so to speak. And the Strength card represents just that. You can see this beautiful woman who has this leash of a chain wrapped around the lion's neck, and she is holding the other end of this chain in her hands. The implication pointing towards that she has tamed the wild beast, so to speak. But she's done it not with a blatant, assertive, aggressive, muscle and brawn kind of strength. She's done it with a more quiet, solid, grounded kind of strength. This represents, the words I always get in my head with this is soothing the savage beast. You can catch more flies with honey than you can with vinegar. This represents having the strength to deal with something. And I believe, accompanied by the Nine of Cups, it's actually kind of fighting for something that you want, something that you hold very dear. You can see this woman and doing it with strength and confidence, as this woman is doing. This woman is striding very confidently ahead of her. I always see her as in motion because of the flow of her dress and her hair sweeping back. Her face is up, even tilted upwards a little bit. She is going forward into the future. She is going towards something, and she is doing it with a sense of self-assurance and self-confidence. but again, not blatant. So whatever this issue is that it looks like you're going into February needing a fair amount of strength to deal with, Capricorn, it looks like it's just manifesting a more grounded sort of strength, the kind of quiet inner strength that comes from the feeling I'm getting is of feeling like you're in the right, knowing in your right that you're in the right. It feels like you're fighting for something you actually believe in. And this is a good card for you, Capricorn. You are an earth sign, and the element of earth, the words I always associate with it are being grounded, being reliable, stable, the kind of people who really provide a sense of continuity. Uh, so I feel this is a very good match for you, Capricorn, and you're well up to the challenge this month. Now, the Strength card is accompanied by the Nine of Cups, which is a beautiful card. Cups, the element is that of water, and Cups is a suit that points towards our emotions, love, relationships, how we relate to the people around us. It's a very emotional suit. And the Nine of Cups represents having what you want. I've often heard it referred to as the wish card. If you were asking a question and you pulled the Nine of Cups, this would be a yes, a very definitive yes. It's a card of having your wish granted, having something come true, living the fantasy that you've always wanted, or basically just something that being happy, being fulfilled, being filled, having more than enough. You can see this man is raising one of these nine cups in the air, and the other ones are upright and full, implying that he has more than enough. He's celebrating. Um, in other tarot decks, I've seen this man as slightly more rotund. He's not something who's wanting for much of anything. It's the card of abundance, of having what you want, having your wish come true, having your desires met. And Capricorn, I feel like combined with the Strength card, you head into February. I feel like this is actually about fighting for something that you want, having the strength. Again, no, I actually feel like it's you're fighting for something that you want, but it's something not just a material, something that you want for a way of life. I feel Capricorn as if there's something that you're holding very near to yourself, something that has to do with your ethics or some kind of moral foundation that you're fighting for somehow. You're fighting to have this thing. There's a sense of being in the right, of feeling like you're in the right. The only piece of advice I think attached to this combination for you, Capricorn, would be to. It looks like it's going to require a fair amount of strength, which again I think you're well up to, but a very grounded, quiet sort of strength. And the feeling I'm getting is kind of paying attention to how you speak somehow in this situation as you're fighting for this thing that you believe in, that you want very much. Um, I just feel like there's going to be a lot attached to how you speak somehow, and the Strength card being advice on to fight for what you want, fight very hard for it, stand by whatever it is that you believe in that you're fighting for, but try not to be too aggressive, too assertive. Do it with that quiet, solid, rooted sense of self-confidence. Don't back down, but don't be too forceful or aggressive about it either, because it looks like you feel you're very firmly in the right. So that's interesting. In the second week, Capricorn, we have the Ace of Swords, followed by the Knight of Swords. And again, I'm just getting the feeling that this message is echoing very strongly about fighting for something that you want, but that it's connected to something that you feel strongly about in some kind of ethical or moral foundation sort of way. Perhaps it's a cause that you're fighting for, or something you're trying to set up that actually means something to you. It has some kind of foundation in your ethical belief, how you choose to live your life. And the combination of the Ace of Swords and the Knight of Swords is about our thoughts and how we speak. Um, the Ace of Swords, the element is that of air, and Swords is a suit that points towards our thoughts, our ideas, our ways of thinking, our perspective, our reasoning, and our logic. It's a very cerebral and mental suit. And Swords is also one of the universal symbols of truth, and it represents the the suit of swords also represents a great many of the elements of truth. And the Ace of Swords is that which cuts right to the heart of the matter and exposes what the truth of something is in a very swift and profound and successful way. Aces also represent new beginnings, the promise of new beginnings, the success of something to come, the potential of something. And seeds, being seeds, of course, still need to be planted and nurtured and taken care of so they can grow to fruition. But the Ace of Swords speaks of a truth, a truth being revealed, something cutting. The Ace of Swords is coming in and it's cutting away all the extraneous baggage that we don't need to reveal some kind of truth. And I actually feel like paired with the Knight of Swords, even though this is the element is that of air and you are Earth, Capricorn, I feel like this is you. This is part, it represents, this coupling of cards represents this process of something that you are fighting for. The image I get in my head and the feeling I'm getting is that there's a lot of verbal argument or a verbal you're arguing for something, this thing that you're wanting, that you're fighting for, something that you believe in very strongly. I'm just getting the sense of a lot of verbal communication going back and forth, very passionate. You're fighting for the truth somehow, Capricorn. There's something you see that you're fighting for, a truth somehow that's very important for you, something that you want. You're fighting very hard for it. The Knight of Swords and the Ace of Swords coupled together, the strong underlying advice to this combination of cards would be to not give up, to keep fighting for it. Let me just look at these cards for a minute. Yes, that it's something you feel very passionately about, but it's connected with a truth that you see. You're fighting for, almost it feels like you're fighting for a cause or the truth of something to be revealed. It's something you feel very passionate about. I'm just, again, this passionate verbal back and forth. A lot of passion, and it's coming from this place of feeling like you're in the right. You're fighting for something, even if it's a cause or another person. This Knight of Swords would represent somebody who's charging in. The knights being the bringers of the tarot, the ones that were always sent out in medieval times on a mission or a quest somehow. Very single-minded, very focused, very determined. You know, they were always the ones sent out to slay a dragon or retrieve a lost relic or some other kind of mission or quest, and they were typically very honorable, very focused and driven individuals. And again, I feel like this is you fighting in this process for something. The fighting for the truth somehow is what I keep getting. Now, around the third week of February, we have the Seven of Pentacles, accompanied by the Eight of Swords. And Capricorn, I feel like somewhere during this process, it feels like it's a real this thing that you're fighting for, this truth that you're fighting for, either to be revealed or this cause somehow, fighting for the right of something. It looks like you're going to hit a point somewhere around the third week of February or in the last half of the month where it feels like this is a real challenge. This is something that you're really struggling for. That Ace of Swords and Knight of Swords, to the advice being, once you pick up that sword, fight to win. Don't give up. Don't put the sword down. Don't compromise. You're in the right. Keep going with whatever it is that this thing you feel so passionately about, that you want, that you're fighting for somehow. It looks like you reach a point where you have the Seven of Pentacles being a card of reflection and assessment. Uh, Pentacles, the element is that of Earth, which is your element. And Pentacles is a suit that typically points to things in our tangible, grounded world. Most often, things like money, finances, resources, property, things like that. The Seven of Pentacles shows a woman who's about to harvest what she has been nurturing. You can see there's a ladder leaning up next to the tree, and she has a basket in her hand to hold all these, the fruit of what she's been working on in the form of pentacles. But the basket is empty because she hasn't begun to pick yet. She's in, this card points to being in a place where you're looking at everything that you have, the results of everything that you have so far, what you've invested in it, and you're looking to see if the end has justified the means. Have you gotten the returns on something that you wanted or better? This card begs the question, has it been worth it? Should I continue doing this? Is everything that I've put into this, has it produced what I've wanted it to produce, or should I give up and do something else? the card again of reflection and assessment. And what I feel, Capricorn, is somewhere around the last half of February 2016, this issue that you're fighting for, this thing, this cause, or this something that you're fighting for, you feel very passionate about, something connected with your ethics and morals, something you feel you're in the right about. It feels like you hit a point in the last half of February where I think you feel a little discouraged and you're wondering if you should keep on fighting, if it's actually worth it. The phrase that just keeps repeating itself is it worth it? Is it worth it? Should I continue doing this? But again, that Ace of Swords and Knight of Swords speaks a very strong piece of advice of to keep fighting, to keep going for what you want because there's something about it that's right in an ethical and moral way. But it looks like you hit a point where you may be feeling disappointed or discouraged or tired, and you're just asking yourself, is this worth it? Is it really going to pay off? And is all my hard work and investment really worth it? And the Seven of Pentacles is accompanied by the Eight of Swords. Again, that mental suit. And the Eight of Swords is a card of kind of being held hostage by your thoughts or your ideas as represented by these swords. You can see this woman is surrounded by these eight swords, almost held hostage, chained up, fenced in. You can see that she's chained up at the wrists and she has a blindfold on. However, if you look closely, you can see that these chains are actually not attached to anything. There's nobody holding them. So with a twist of her wrist, these chains could fall off and she could remove her own blindfold. And Capricorn, this points to, I think when you hit this reflection and assessment period, it feels like there's some discouragement over, this fight is a hard fight. It's requiring a lot of strength from you. And at some point, you're going to wonder if it's really worth it. And you're going to kind of have these thoughts. I'm just getting this feeling of circular thinking, thoughts going around and around and around. Um, but the implication is that there's something in front of you that you're not seeing. There's some solution or what's actually reflected in your environment. All this worry and anxiety and this circular mental battering on yourself is actually in your mind. It's not really reflected in your outside environment, except in the difficulty of the struggle itself. Uh, this card literally represents being held hostage by that. So the piece of advice attached to this, Capricorn, forewarned is forearmed. When you hit this point in February 2016, where you're feeling discouraged and you're wondering if it's worth it, if you should keep fighting the good fight, because you have all these kind of negative thoughts and worries and anxieties going around and around in your head. You feel discouraged, like you can't keep doing it, that you're not going to win. The advice of the cards and what's actually reflected outside of your mind looks very positive, and the advice is very strongly to not lay that sword down, to fight for this truth, to fight for this thing that you want so badly. Um, Very intense, kind of exciting sort of feeling. Just a feeling that you need to keep going. Now, at or towards the end of the month, we have the King of Wands, followed by the Ace of Pentacles. And this coupling of cards together represents a success in this. And again, I'm just getting the sense of a lot of this struggle, this fight for something, this cause that you're working on. However, this resonates it's going to resonate differently for different Capricorns in terms of what the actual issue is that you're fighting for. But I'd like to point out too that you also have two aces in this reading, the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles specifically. And that represents the coming together both of your verbal talent and the material world coming together in a very successful and very profound way. So again, the advice being to keep fighting for what you're fighting for. Again, I'm just getting this involves a lot of speech somehow. I'm talking to people or arguing with people somehow. This King of Wands is an individual who has a great deal of force and creativity. This is a very passionate individual, somebody who goes after what he wants and fights for what he wants and does not give up. Wands, again, being that Wands, the element is that of air and fire. And when you think about the elements of air and fire together, it's a lot of heat and passion and movement, change, action, which is what the suit of Wands points towards. Also creativity and inspiration as well. The King of Wands, kings being an individual who's reached the mastery of their suit, which would be this range of emotions and this ability to act on their desires, to take action on the things that they want, the choices that they make. This is not somebody who rests on his laurels, and he comes from a place of movement rather than a place of just sitting back for so long. Somebody who is well in control of this and able to affect the world around him with his leadership abilities and his enthusiasm and his ability to kind of help get people on board just by his sheer magnetism and the force of what he believes in. And it's paired with the Ace of Pentacles, which again, aces representing new beginnings and the promise and potential of things to come. Pentacles representing our grounded, practical, tangible environment. Again, that marrying somehow of the material world with your verbal skills, and this speaks of it being very successful. And it speaks of the Ace of Pentacles points towards getting a gift as well. The promise of abundance and prosperity and success in this thing, whatever it is. Again, it's going to resonate differently depending on which Capricorn you are. Um, this could also represent an actual individual in your life or involved in this situation somehow that comes on board and helps you achieve the success in this thing that you're going for, and perhaps even in the form of an actual tangible gift. And again, I feel like that your speech is going to be important. That whenever you hit this bump or this place in the month of February 2016, Capricorn, where it feels like you're in some self-doubt and you're wondering if it's worth it, if you should keep fighting this fight, the answer is yes, you definitely should. And it will prove itself in the end with abundance. Now, the card that you got as your overall theme and general feeling of the month, and over this, the crowning card, the umbrella card, if you will, over the situation, we have the Wheel of Fortune in the upright position. How beautiful. This is good fortune, good luck, unexpected blessings. This is the wheel turning on the upswing for you. The wheel is always turning, as I'm fond of saying, and sometimes in our life it can appear to be on the upswing, and at others it can feel like it's on the downswing. Everybody kind of takes their turn. But in this situation, Capricorn, it speaks of having, of whatever this situation is, this fight is or about, it speaks of having great success and great blessings in it, and that you are going to be successful in this in the end, and to not give up, that it's going to work out. And the feeling I'm getting is in some unexpected ways too, kind of a lottery winning sort of way. So Capricorn, what an exciting reading. I feel quite kind of stirred up while I'm reading it. It feels, again, like there's a lot of passion involved in this. It's just something you feel very strongly about. I'm just kind of getting, again, this sense of verbal argument. There's something to do with a lot of this fight being verbal, a lot of what you're working for. So Capricorn, I hope you've enjoyed this reading. I hope it's resonated for you, or at least given you a little bit of insight and clarity on the path to come. It looks like it's going to be a pretty exciting journey. And I know there's a lot of you out there who like to comment and send emails as well on how these readings resonate for you, in terms of those for whom it has resonated. Again, if it hasn't, I suggest you check your rising and your moon sign as well. Please feel free to email me if you're comfortable sharing how that resonates with you. I do try and respond to each and every one that I get. So Capricorn, I look forward to seeing how this plays out for you in this month and in the coming months. And it'll be interesting to see if the mid-month readings touch on this as well, unless the cards decide to focus on something else, as they often do. Again, if you would like a personal reading, or you're interested in any of the love readings for this month, you can click on the About button on my YouTube channel, or email me at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. And until I see you again in a couple of weeks for the mid-month reading, I wish you joy, peace, and a happy life. Thanks for watching, Capricorn, and I'll see you in a few weeks.